Alright people, what's up everyone, and welcome to another Ranksters mini, a little baby one, and it's just me, your boy, and I haven't done one in a little while actually. It's been a couple months at least, maybe a few months, so I'm here to do one because this one was calling to me ever since I completed this game a couple days ago, and of course I am here to rank every single character from Ghost of Tsushima, or Tushima, right? I'm gonna say Tsushima because I'm a dumb white boy. So, yeah, Ghost of Tsushima. I finally played. I finished it. I finished it in a week, by the way. My overall time was 55 hours, and I am going to go back and try to finish every single thing in it. I'm going to tell you right here. There's one character here I have yet to finish their side quest line stuff, which that we'll get to it. We'll get to it. I was going to do that, but I was like, you know what? I really want to do this so while it's still fresh in my head, all the characters and all the side stuff and whatnot. The cast is not huge, as you can see. I mean, there's technically a lot of characters, but there's a lot of like really small ones that do have names. Like I don't know, just name anyone. There's probably one name, I don't know, Fred or whatever, and he's just like one character you see once, and that's it. Obviously, there's nobody named Fred in Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah, so there's more characters that have names and stuff, but when it comes to characters with enough screen time to consider them characters, these are the only ones. So pretty small cast considering like a 55-hour game. Like you can play like an Assassin's Creed, and I think you meet like freaking hundreds of characters in the first like few hours. So Ghost of Tsushima, I like that they kept the cast small. It makes sense for a game like this where you're on an island, you're kind of isolated in a way, and just evil everywhere. They already took over the island. I mean, pretty much. So anyway, I am using who's the person that made this? Mik, this guy, whatever. Whoever made this guy or gal, thank you for making this, because it's like the only one on Tier Maker. So let's get to it. Let's start. We're gonna start off with, of course. You know what? I feel like we should start with Jin, even though Jin is second. Let's move him over. Okay, let's move him over. All right, Jin Sakai. I love this guy. I really do. This is a character that at first seems more like a blank slate, but he definitely opens up later. He becomes way more complex, which I love in a character like this, our main character. And he definitely like opens up more. He has a little bit of humor, just instances of humor, but for the most part, he is dead on serious. He's about the mission, and I love his character growth and where he goes throughout the game. I love that he really does. He's all about the samurai life. And he doesn't want to dishonor his enemy. And then he just sees that he has to. If he wants to take back his island, his home, save his people, he's going to have to. So following him as he pretty much dishonors himself is really, it's gripping. And I love his transformation throughout the game. By the way, I should say there's going to be spoilers. Not that I've spoiled anything really yet. I mean, that's the whole point of the game, is you becoming a samurai, becoming like a ghost, I guess. So I do want to warn everybody, I will be spoiling the game here and there. I'm going to try to keep it as vague as possible, but I'm still going to definitely spoil some stuff. All right, so Jin, I'm going to tell you right here. Oh, I should have also said this. I'm sorry. I'm going to be more lenient with this one, because I'm going to tell you right here, I pretty much like all the characters. I don't think there's one character I don't like in this list. So I'm going to be a little bit more lenient. Or not lenient, I should say. I'm not going to be as lenient as I usually am. So I'm going to really, 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 like, if I really love a character, I have to compare it to how I love other characters and stuff, you know what I mean? So like, if I really was lenient, every character would be like A, an S, and B tier. So I'm gonna really like try not to do that. So anyway, Jin Sakai, I'm going to put, that being said, I'm going to put him high A right now. I might move him to S later. I have to think about it. But right now, he's high A. Because it takes a little while for his character to really start. You know, like, you look at some of the greatest protagonists of video games, like Arthur Morgan, immediately he's lovable. And his character growth is a little bit more, I don't know, it's a little not more complex. It's not similar, but, you know, there's big shades of gray and stuff like that. I don't know. But his isn't as big as like Arthur Morgan, who I would consider an S tier, but he's great. Jin Sakai's great. Anyway, Sensei Ishikawa. This guy is I'm going to tell you right here, he was annoying me at first because he's all about like finding Tomoe, of course, who is his student, who he considered a daughter and stuff, and she went rogue and went with the Mongols and are teaching the Mongols. He's teaching the Mongols how to use a bow, like archery, and like really training them. So I guess every time you fight a Mongol in this game that is using bow and arrow, is that supposed to be because she taught them how to do it? I'm assuming, maybe. I'm not sure. Do Mongols usually use bow and arrows? I don't know. I'm not well versed in my Mongol history. So yeah. So he's all about finding Tomoe, and most of the time he's just really stern and strict. He does open up, and I do like that. Even though I mean, I guess he's good with a bow and arrow. He's definitely fallible, that's for sure. He makes a lot of mistakes in this, and he's very hypocritical at times. It's just like his character is complex, but I like that he knows that. He knows that he's not great. He's kind of self-aware that he's a prick. So I'm gonna give him a B. I don't love him as much as some people. I know a lot of people love Ishikawa. The actor did a great job, so I'll give him that. Like, he was amazing. Everybody was amazing in this, but he really sold that character. But by the way, I played this in English. I originally, when the game came out, I did play the first few hours in Japanese. But I was like, you know what? It's synced for, like, the lip syncing is synced for English, and I heard the English voice acting is great, so I was like, you know what? Let me just do it. And the English voice acting was great. So it was all Asian cast too, which was great. All right, so B. This guy is Joon Shin. He is one of the monks. He appears a few times, mainly through Masako, who's another character we'll talk about, the fourth one here. And he's just a monk. He seems kind. There's that one point where we think he's not kind. Like, he's actually, like, he might have had something to do with Masako's family being slaughtered. And there's not much to him besides he's a monk. He's kindly. You think he might have done something bad, but you find out he didn't. He's a good guy. He's just not really in the game a lot, but he does have enough appearances that him being on this list still makes sense. I'm gonna put him C though, because again, I'm gonna try to be not lenient, because I do like all these characters. I mean, I like Joon Shin. Whenever he showed up, I was like, hey, it's Joon Shin. Anyway, Kenji. I love Kenji. I'm gonna tell you right here, Kenji is probably the most, besides Taka, the most lighthearted character in this game. He is great. He's like this, like, I don't even explain it. If you're watching this, you probably already played the game, but I just love that he's like this, like, he's this scummy dude. He trades stuff, he sells stuff and whatnot. He steals stuff. He tries to make like these deals with people and tries to screw them all over. And all of his side missions is just like, hey, I made a deal with the Mongols and I sold the Mongols this stuff, but it ended up actually being like, I think, what was it, like, just dirt or whatever. It's just, I love him. I really do. And the voice actor is great. He really sells that character. And I like his character development is great. Once a certain character dies, he's really just all about like, yeah, I mean, I was already trying to turn a new leaf, but now I'm full on new leaf. I'm for my friend. So I love Kenji, actually. I'm going to give him an A. I really like, I love Kenji. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. All right. The Khan himself. Originally, I was thinking putting him B, but then I found out that the guy that plays the Khan is also the guy that played Attila the Hun in Night at the Museum. So right there, A tier, baby. A tier. All right. Wait, was it Attila the Hun? No, it was Genghis Khan, I think, right? Yeah, that would make sense, right? Was it Genghis Khan? Which one was it? It was Attila the Hun or Genghis Khan? All right, well, I'm moving him back down to B because I don't even remember. No, it was Genghis. I think it was Genghis Khan, right? I guess that would make sense. Well, I'm sorry. Got some of my shirt. I'm going to put him A, though. No, I'm just joking. I think he's actually a really awesome character. He's not in it enough, I think, because he only has a cutscenes. I feel like every time a few of the story missions are completed. Like there's only 24 story missions, and I feel like every like 4 or 5 you get a cutscene with him, talking to like Lord Shimura or just talking to whoever, Ryuzo, or whoever, and he's not in it a lot, but whenever he is, he has a lot of he has a lot of presence, which I love, and I think he's great. I really do. That and the actor's great. I think the guy's name is Patrick Gallagher. I think is the actor, and he's great. I'm gonna put him low A. I would put him maybe a little higher because I think he's a really cool villain, and I love that he isn't just a big brute man. He's actually seems like he's sophisticated a little bit. Maybe not sophisticated. Maybe that's the wrong word. He just seems like a little way more level headed than most of the Mongols you fight in this game. Even like the generals who talk shit to you sometimes, they're just like, me big, me want to crush. You know, like this guy's just like, you know. Oh, you're gonna use poison against us? Guess what? Now I'm using the poison against you. It's just like, you know, he's smarter than that. I mean, which makes sense. He's he's leading an army. You gotta be at least kind of smart in some way. Anyway, low A for him. I think he's great. Masako, probably the best string of side missions, I think. Even though the Tomoe stuff was really great, because I always love, like, oh, what is she going to do next? And then, oh, she did this. Oh, how is she going to escape this time? I almost wish all these side missions were longer, because I feel like some of them kind of end abruptly. I think both Masako's and Ishikawa's technically didn't end abruptly, but they just felt like they could have went on for a couple more missions. But Masako's was probably my favorite. That I think the Yuna one was pretty good. I think all of them. Norio is really good. I really like Norio's. I didn't finish his yet though, but from what I played, it's really good. That's the character that I mentioned earlier that I didn't finish yet. So I'm like on 6, I think. So only a few more. I should have really finished it before doing this, but I don't know. I felt like I played enough, and I've seen him in the story here and there. Yeah, Masako is great. I think she is a very angry person for a good reason. Hers is really tragic. The first couple missions, I mean, what you're mostly doing is like retrieving her sons that died during the war in the beginning, and going to the grave of what she thinks is her sister and her grandkids. It's really fucked up. It really is. She has the most when it comes to just like traumatic and like tragic past. She has the most tragic of here. I mean, I'm looking at characters. Who else would? I guess Yuna already had kind of a tragic past, and then something happens later that's even more tragic. But like, I don't know. In the span of, I don't even know how many days. I mean, how long it's been in between the beginning of this game and like what happened to her and stuff. But in the span of just like a short amount of time, she lost her entire family. And she's older too. That's another thing too. Yuna, I think, is still pretty young, comparatively at least. So it's. I mean, I'm not trying to measure like which one more tragic. Oh, sorry, Yuna, you're not as tragic. But hers is, and she's also an awesome character. I think she's badass. Even though she does get on your nerves sometimes. You understand. I totally get it. Like some people that don't have any. I know some people out there that will probably hate this character all the way through just because she's kind of annoying a little bit because she's all about revenge. But you just gotta realize what she's been through, and it's pretty hard. Especially in the beginning. In the beginning, the first death you see is her husband, by the way. Which is like, wow. Yikes. Because he's the one who gets fucking burned alive and then decapitated, like dishonored completely. It's just like, no, he's like, I'm gonna fight you, and it's just like, here's some fucking wine. It's like, and then cut. So yeah. Anyway, I'm pretty sure that was him, right? That was Lord Adachi, right? I don't know. Anyway, Masako, I'm gonna put right below Jin right now, but I'm thinking of moving Jin to S because right now I don't know if we'll get to it. Norio, again, like I said, I'm not going to waste too much time with Norio because I haven't yet to finish his. I do know how it ends, though. I already know how it ends because I wanted to just like... I just wanted to skim through the cutscenes. I didn't finish it myself, but I did skim through the cutscenes, so I know how it ends. It's very tragic. His side stuff. Not as tragic as Masako's, but his is really tragic. And when it comes to character growth, his just like Masako is all about revenge towards the end, but his, I feel like, because in the beginning you're just like, oh, he's a warrior monk, but he's still a monk, and at the end he's just like talk about how he enjoys murder, like he's just like, when I killed what's his name, I loved it, and when he screams, that filled me with joy, and I was like, I would do it again. I'm like, Jesus, Norio, god damn. So yeah, Norio is a complex character. He doesn't show too much during the story, and his introduction to the game is very strange because it's just like during a big scene, and then you just like you almost like you're thinking like it's gonna fade to black, and then you're done with that act. But then Norio shows up and is just like, "Hey, I'm a new character." I'm like, "Who the fuck? Where'd you come from?" He almost gets like, he almost feels like if you like added a character in like as DLC or something like that. Because he doesn't really do much in the story. Like, he shows up one other time in the story, and he's just like, I'm here to help. I'm like, all right. I guess you could say the same thing with Masako and all these other characters, but I feel like they have other things to do. Norio, not really. Anyway, I'm going to put Norio, I'm going to put him high B. Because I like him. He's also kind of, he's a little boring, but he's warm. He's just like the other monk guy, Joon Shin. He's warm. Ryuzo, okay, Ryuzo, I'm just going to tell you right here, I don't really like Ryuzo, not just because he's an unlikable character, I just feel like Ryuzo, you don't get to know him enough for me to really care about him and Jin's relationship, and when he betrays Jin for his friends, you don't get to know his friends enough, the Ronin, the Straw Hat Ronins, you don't get to know them enough, so it's just like one of those things, like, it was just like they wanted to add another enemy to the game besides Mongols, so it was just like, how about the Straw Hat Ronin, which are cool enemies. Straw Hat's cool. I wore a Straw Hat, like, throughout most of the game, so I like the Straw Hats, don't get me wrong, the look of them, at least, but I didn't know any of them, so when, like, he came up, and it's like, I have to betray you, I have to save my people, and then the next time you see him, he's just like, you killed all of my friends. I'm just like, yeah, you killed my boy Taka, who is like infinitely a better character than you and your shitty Ronin. So he's just like, he's kind of whiny too. When he first meets him, he's cool enough, but he just becomes instant dick. And to be like I said, I do like all these characters. I still do like Ryuzo. I'm just not being as lenient with him, because all these other characters are so cool. I'm gonna give him a C. I'm gonna put him ahead of Joon Shin because he has more to do in the story, but whatever. Lord Shimura. Okay, the whole point of the beginning of the game is to save his ass, so you don't really get to see a lot of him until later on. The ending in this game, I think, is perfect. It's actually one of the best video game endings I think I've seen. Like, I love it. I actually really do, because you know exactly what's happening, and they have like these beautiful shots setting that up, and it's amazing. But the whole story between him and Jin is actually really well done, and Lord Shimura, you actually do feel for him. You understand he's duty bound. He's all about honor. So Jin is completely dishonoring himself, and Lord Shimura even considers him like his son. We don't know, Lord Shimura is his uncle, is Jin's uncle, and like the only family he has left. So it's like really, it's a pretty good like character dynamic between those two. So, and Lord Shimura, I think, is great. I think he's stern leader, but still compassionate. There's times where like he's already like kind of disowned you almost, and you're like sneaking around in his room to leave him a note to ask him if he would actually help. And you hear him say like, I wish you were here, Jin. I wish it didn't come to this. It's like, oh man, it's really well done. So I'm gonna put him right next to Jin. I think that just makes sense. All right, my boy Taka, the one I knew immediately when he showed up. I was like, his ass is dead, because his whole thing is like he's not. I guess he's a coward, but he's not like, no, not really. He's just weak. He wants to be a hero, I guess, because he looks up to Jin, the ghost, but he's still kind of a coward. But Taka is a cool guy. I like Taka. He's warm. He's friendly. Of course, he's Yuna's brother, so immediately I really like Yuna a lot. So it's just like, you know what? I'm just gonna do this right here. I'm just gonna put Jin up here, and I might put Lord Shimura up there too. I feel like that's like the whole crux of the plot, besides kill the Khan. Anyway, but Taka is great. I love Taka. I really do. And when he died, it was. I mean, because the whole game is violent, but when it comes to the story, besides the beginning with Adachi, there wasn't like when he gets burned alive and then cut his head off. There isn't a lot of like extreme violence in the story cutscenes. You know, in the gameplay, obviously, there's plenty. You can cut arms off, you freaking blood squirting everywhere, and there's a little bit. Don't get me wrong, but there's no extreme like decapitations and like bloody neck stumps, drizzling blood and shit. Until I feel like with Taka, maybe I'm forgetting something. I might be. But yeah, with Taka, when he dies, he tries to help Jin. He fails, obviously. He tries to kill the Khan. It didn't work. We all figured that would happen. And then, like, Taka is just like saying, like, tell Yuna, and the Khan just beheads him and just, like, lifts his head up. Like, he doesn't even behead him. He, like, cuts most of through his neck, and then he, like, rips the rest off, and then he shows, like, Jin the head, which is, like, that's pretty metal, I'm not gonna lie, but it still sucks. It's, like, Taka's a great character, though, and his death was very well done. When Yuna finds out, it's really well done. So, I'm gonna put him an A. I like him. I'm gonna put him right next to Kenji, because, you know, they were buds. Alright, Tomoe. Now, Tomoe we don't get to see too much of. Most of what we know about Tomoe is from Ishikawa, when he tells the stories about Tomoe. We do get a few moments where we get to talk to her, and there's that one great part, I think it's mission 8 of the 9 missions for Ishikawa, where you're actually where you're interacting, where you're actually helping her, like, catch food and stuff, and, like, not fight off bandits, but, like, well, I guess you do fight off some bandits, or Mongols at one point. And she's talking to you and stuff, and she's flirting with you a little bit, and I'm just like, I know you're Tomoe, you're not fucking... They're not just going to introduce a new character out of nowhere for no reason at the end of this side quest line. Especially since we haven't seen Tomoe's face, because she's been wearing this mask the entire time, so I'm just like, it's obviously Tomoe. And even Jin, it seems like Jin already knew that. Especially at the end, he's just like, yeah, okay, Tomoe, I know it's you. So, yeah, like, you can tell Jin isn't, like, 100%, like, hating on Tomoe, because he can tell, like, Ishikawa is kind of, he's been very wishy-washy at this point, but yeah, Tomoe, like, she's cool, I like her, she's badass, that's cool, she's good with a bow, she seems level-headed. I wish she was more, like, maniacal, like Ishikawa was making her sound. But I do like her. I'm going to give her a high B. I'm going to put her, right there. All right, now, you know what? Let's do Yuna last. Let's do Yuriko first. Yuriko is not in the game a lot. She only has 3 missions. She's in one of the story missions, I think. Wait, no, is that true? No, she's in one of the story missions, and then there's 2 side missions after that. And she is the... I guess, like, the servant or whatever for the Sakai family. So she kind of raised Jin after Jin's mother passed away, and his father was doing other stuff, and then he died, of course. So she was, like, very motherly to him. And, you know, grandma feelings feel good in video games and movies. Always a good feeling when you have, like, a young man or a grandma just chilling out and just, like, talking, you know what I mean? But this one, I love this because it had such a twist. Like, first of all, she has, like, what seems like dementia at one point, where she's, like, thinking Jin is Lord Sakai, his father, because I guess they look similar enough that she was confusing him because she's older. And, like, there's a lot of revelations where you find out that they actually had a thing, like him and Lord, I mean, her, is it Yuriko, right? Did I say Yukino or whatever? Yuriko. Yuriko had, like, a thing with Lord Sakai, which is really well done. That's, like, the last mission you find out, like, she wanted to go to the hot springs and stuff, and that's where her and Lord Sakai went. That was the happiest moment of her life, and, like, it's great. So those 3 missions, and I think that's actually, that shot right there is right when she dies, because she does die. And yeah, you already know that's exactly what's happening. I love that Jin is he knows that she's obviously either hallucinating or whatever, and he's, like, going with it, like, pretending to be Lord Sakai. So when she passes away, you know, it's great. And of course after that you bury her, and then you can do a bow, which I did, and then a fun little animation happens. She isn't the most complex character, but I felt like when it comes to side missions from last year, she had my favorite string of side missions. And I know I said Masako is my favorite, but I'm talking about like Masako is my favorite from the main cast. Yuriko is not the main cast. I think, and she only had 2 side missions technically, so I wouldn't call that a string of missions. Like it doesn't say 1 of 2 for Yuriko, you know what I mean? Where the other ones say like 1 of 9 for Masako and 1 of 4 for Yuna, 1 of 9 for Norio or whatever. So she's different. I feel like hers is my favorite emotionally and story wise because I feel like it was it was very brief but very well done. So I'm gonna give that. I'm gonna give Yuriko F. Fuck her. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna put her low A because she's not in it a lot, but she touched my heart. Yuna's S. Love Yuna. I do actually. No, not F. I'm just gonna put her right there below Shimura. Lord Shimura, right? Yeah. Yuna is a cool character. She's like one of the first characters you meet in the game, obviously, and she sticks with you throughout the entire game, even though there's times where she doesn't want to. And of course, she gets her brother back at one point. She wants to leave Tsushima and go somewhere else and start a new life with her brother. And of course, then her brother gets killed, and she's like 100% with the ghost. And I love that she's really the one that starts the ghost too, because she's like, hey, if you want to survive, you got to do some stealth shit. Okay, you ever play Metal Gear Solid? She says that. That's a line in the game. I'm like, whoa, they just broke the 4th wall. I don't know if I can get back into the other 3 walls now. But that's not whatever. Yeah, she is headstrong, badass, and I love just the little moments. There's like one scene where her and Jin are just drinking sake, and it's just like it's great. They're just chilling out. You know, it was like there's no romance too, which I love because so many games and especially movies, so many games and movies just like, oh, there's a female person, there's a person of the opposite sex, and the main character and them are like palling around a lot. They're gonna fuck at one point, and that doesn't happen because they're all headstrong about the mission. That's what I love. Yeah, she's a great character. I really think she's strong, and you really feel for her. Not as strong as Sakai and Shimura, but really like her as a character. I will say though, if I had to say one thing I didn't care for, there's times where she's a little bit too, like, very similar to Lady Masako. She's way too much about like I need to get Taka, I need to get Taka, I need to protect Taka, I need to protect Taka. She's very protective of her little brother, which makes sense. But there's times where it goes a little bit like every time she's in a cutscene, sometimes she'd just be like, I need to protect Taka. I'm like, do you have anything to add to this cutscene besides just saying the same fucking shit you've been saying? So actually, you know what? Fuck her, F tier. Stop being whiny. No, I'm just kidding. That's a really small complaint though, because it's not enough for me to really drop her down. I think she's great, and she's like your best friend in the game. Really, she's with you from point A to point B, and that's the whole game. That's a long ass point in between A and B. I mean, that's a long ass line in between A and B because this game's long as fuck. Like I'll probably be like 65 hours by the time I finish everything too. I'm 55 hours in. Probably another 10 hours to finish everything else, I'd assume, because I have to go and do all the other stuff. Because I want to platinum it. Because I don't have like any platinums on PS5 or 4 or 3 because I just don't give a shit really. But this game I do. So, hey, what a good first one. Technically, I already have one. It's The Walking Dead for the PS Vita, but I don't count that one because it's just beat the game. You got the platinum, good job. Like, all right. I guess this one's complete everything, but that's like time consuming. Where Walking Dead, if you want the story, you have to play the whole game, you know? Also, like, Ghost of Tsushima has some skill because you have to like do certain things, like block a thing 20 times or knock somebody off a ledge or whatever, you know what I mean? So there's like, it's not just like play the game. It's like you have to do certain things. Anyway, there you go. That is my ranking. No D's, no F's. I put an F there. Just in case I was like getting emotional or whatever. You know what, Ryuzo, fuck you. No, I'm just kidding. And I still like Ryuzo. I do, especially his ending. I think his ending's like, all right, well, there you go. But that is my ranking right here. So S tier is Jin, Lord Shimura, Did I say Shimura last time? Oh my god, Shimura. Whatever. I don't care. I'm mispronouncing things. We're 30 minutes in. Fuck it. Yuna, by the way, has a tragic past too. I should mention. I mentioned earlier, but I want to mention it again. Which I thought was like, oh man, I totally get it. But whatever. And then A tier is Masako, Lady Masako. Excuse me. Then you got Taka, Kenji, the Khan. Yuriko. I love Yuriko. No one else would put her that high, but I would. In B tier, you have Norio, Tomoe, and Ishikawa, which is perfect for those two. They can chill out. And then see Ryuzo and Joon Shin. There you go. That is my ranking for the Ghost of Tsushima characters. Tell me what your ranking would be. I'm sure you could put it in the comments. It wouldn't be too hard. There's not that many characters. Let me know. Let me know. And there you go. That is it. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. Till next time. I'll see you guys later. I'm going to try to do more of these mini ranksters in the future. Give me suggestions. Why not? And give me a like and a comment and subscribe and a hi. A hello. Wave at me. Wave at me right now. I'll feel it. Don't worry. Anyway, bye.